Hey scientists, it's Jessica Power from Kansas City Public Schools, one of the science curriculum coordinators. I'm so glad we're back this week and we're going to be talking more about plants. Scientists, if you remember last week, I unpotted my Gerber daisy and we got an opportunity to look at the different parts that a plant has. With our Gerber daisy, we got to look at the stem, the leaves, the petals, the seeds, and the roots. Do you remember that root ball I picked up, how big those roots were? Remember, the bigger the plant, the bigger the roots. Well, scientists, it's important to know that not only do plants have different parts, and that those parts have special functions, but scientists, it's really important that we know that plants get materials or things from outside the plant to help that plant grow. So scientists, I want to review the plant parts first, and I actually have a story for you that we're going to read today about how plants get materials or the things they need from around them in order to grow. So last week, scientists, I had this poster up, and we talked about the parts of different plants. And we said that the seeds, we'll start at the top of the plant, the seeds, those are going to grow new plants. And so those seeds come off the plant and they get scattered. And next week, scientists, we're going to read a book about how those seeds can get scattered, whether it's by animals, whether it's by plant pollination from different insects like honeybees, or whether the wind takes those seeds and they go off into the distance. So seeds help us make new plants. Then we have the flower. And those flowers are really so that the colors, the bright colors of the flower, attract those insects and those different animals to the flower to help spread those seeds. But we're going to focus on that a lot next week, scientists. Now we have a stem, so all plants have a stem. This plant, you'll see the leaves are coming off the stem. If you remember last week, the Gerber daisy, those leaves came from the base of the plant, so they didn't necessarily come from the stem where the flower is. The stem is going to support the plant, so it allows the plant to stand up tall. And it also is going to move water from the roots of the plant all the way up to the different parts, to the leaves, to the petals, etc. Our leaves are going to help the plant make their food. And that's all what the book we're going to read today is about, scientists. It's about how do plants make their food. Now, we as humans, we eat, right? In order to get energy and to get food. We eat hamburgers or salads or maybe sometimes a candy bar or a cupcake, right? But we eat different food and that's how we get energy. Plants don't have mouths. They don't just eat food like we do. So their leaves are really, really important to how a plant is able to grow and get energy. And then finally we have the roots. And the roots keep that plant in the ground, right? They keep it anchored, keep it stuck in the ground. And the other thing that the roots are going to do is they absorb water and nutrients. So our roots allow the plant to be able to soak up and absorb water that then goes up to the stem, the leaves, and everywhere else. Now, scientists, if you think about it, most of the time, majority of the time, we plant flowers in the summer. And I want you to think about why we may plant flowers in the summer. Why do you think we plant flowers in the summer? It is warm in the summer, right? We can give water to the plants. And another reason that we plant flowers in the summer is because that's when we have the most sunlight. So if you think about during the summertime, the sun is out longer during the day than it is in the winter or spring or summer. Now, scientists, plants, in order to grow, they have to make their own food. And they make their own food by using materials or things around them, like water, like sunlight. And they make this thing called glucose. Glucose is a type of sugar. And that sugar is what helps the plant to have energy and allows the plants to grow big, right? Remember my Gerber daisy from last week? I told you guys that Gerber daisy started out really, really small. And by the end of the summer, it had grown and to be really big. Well, the combination of sunlight, water, and then the air around the plant the plant absorbs the air. So scientists, we're going to read a book today called How Do Plants Grow? And it is by G.A. Seeley. And so we're going to follow this boy named Kelvin and his dad, and we're going to learn about how plants grow. So how do plants take the materials or the things from the air, water, and sun? And how does the plant turn that into food or glucose, which is sugar that the plant needs? Now, just like you and I, we also need energy, right? And so glucose is how the plants get their energy. So let's take a look. How Do Plants Grow by G.A. Seeley. One day, Calvin and Dad were taking a walk. They were looking at the trees and flowers in the park. When Calvin said, "Dad, how do trees grow?" Dad replied, "Do you really want to know?" Well, trees need food like me and you, but they can make their own, which is a neat thing to do. First, they take some rays from Mr. Sun, so for them daytime is lots of fun. Then comes the rain and water comes from the sky. It enters their roots and travels up high. To the leaves which take in air, then Mrs. Tree mixes all these things with great care. So we have the sun, we have the water and the rain, and we have the air. Out comes sugar, which is very sweet, which is found in all the fruits we eat. So plants make sugar as their food, which then puts birds and bees in a happy mood. For plants like to share their food with others, just like you share your toys with your brother. Plants make food through photosynthesis, this big word you cannot miss. So here, his dad's kind of pointing out how that plant makes its food to grow. It takes sunlight, it takes water and air, and that gives the plant the sugar or the glucose that it needs to grow and survive. So next time someone asks, "How do plants eat?" give them an apple that tastes so sweet. And then tell them, making sugar is the way plants make food to grow, through photosynthesis, don't you know? Kelvin said, "Plants take in water, air, and light, and mix till it's just about right." Dad said, "Right, and that is the way trees get taller, so when you stand next to them, you look smaller." Calvin said, "Thank you, Dad. Now I know how plants are able to grow." So scientists, not only do plants have different parts that help them grow and survive, but what those parts do are super important. So as we learned with Kelvin and his dad, plants need sunlight, they need air, and they need water to grow. So those plants are going to take in water from the roots, they're going to take in air and sunlight through the leaves, and then the combination of those three things are going to help the plant to make its own food in order for that plant to grow and become bigger and healthier. So scientists, if you get an opportunity, you can grow your own plants. You can take a look at what happens if you give your plants maybe a little bit more sunlight or a little less sunlight. What happens if you give your plants less water or more water. But you can see how plants grow bigger, healthier, just by getting the right nutrients. Just like you, just like me. We also need the right nutrients to grow big and strong. So plants do the same as well. Scientists, next week we're going to talk about how different animals and how different parts of nature, like the wind, are going to move around different seeds from plants so that we can grow new plants. We call that seed dispersal. So how do we get seeds from one plant and how do we scatter them throughout either a forest or an area to grow new plants naturally without humans having to do it? I'll see you back here next time, scientists. Have a great week.